Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Great to have you in today. Joy Taylor is joining me hour 2 today. Jeff Schwartz, great offensive lineman, will be joining me in about 15 minutes. Matt Barnes, Marcellus Wiley today. Joy, how are you?
I'm doing great. Very excited for this tournament.
Very excited for the tournament. Starts later today. Well, there's already a couple of games going on. A lot of news today. In America right now, you hear all the time, we're divided. You got Republicans over here, and you got Democrats over there, and we're divided. And I don't find that to be the only division in America. I think I notice this among men a lot, so I'll speak for men since I'm a guy. One of the big divisions in America, people willing to evolve and rigid, stubborn people. And as men primarily age, they can pick one of those two lanes. Coach K, I'm going to evolve. I don't like one and dones, but I'm going to evolve. Duke's favorite to win the title. Bobby Knight, at the end of his career, stubborn, I'm not changing. You've seen how it's gone. You can talk about Republicans and Democrats, but when I look around in the world in which I live, I got Republican friends and Democratic friends, and most of my friends almost lean moderate to independent. But the big gap, are you willing to evolve or are you stubborn? And Le'Veon Bell came out, interview with Jenny Vrenes, Monday Morning Quarterback, and said Ben wants to win, but Ben wants to win his way, and that's tough to play with. He tries to control everything. Ben and Brett Favre, small-town guys, a little rigid, my way or the highway, I'm not evolving. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Coach K have chosen the other lane. This is a real knock on Big Ben. Big Ben, I've been told by people around the Steelers organization that have been in and out of that organization, their audible system is antiquated and simplistic. Ben threatened to retire years ago if things didn't go his way. He was public about it. Who else threatened to retire several times if he had to change offenses? Brett Favre. You can choose either exit on the interstate, evolve and grow, or stubborn, rigid guy. And Favre, to me, at the end, I'm not changing offenses or I'll retire. He threatened it publicly. Look it up. Google. That's what it's used for. Big Ben, a couple years ago. They were forcing changes with Todd Haley. I'm going to retire. Warren Sharp is a football analytics guy. And a couple of days ago, weeks ago, I had him on a podcast. And I said, what NFL team, and Ben has to take some of the hit on this, because quarterbacks who aren't willing to evolve, especially when they're great like Favre and Big Ben, teams aren't going to get rid of him. Not as long as Favre was still really, really good and Ben's still really, really good. He's an A to an A- quarterback. And so Warren Sharp, I asked him, what's the team that underachieves analytically?
Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that has a very good quarterback, and that's the most important thing in the NFL. And they're always kind of consistently good, above-average team, but they always struggle with adjusting and adapting their game plan to beat certain opponents, and that's why, for example, they hardly ever have success against the New England Patriots, especially their defense always seems to struggle dealing with them. I know they won a game a little while ago against them, but like on a consistent basis, this is a team that I feel like isn't squeezing the juice out of the orange to the extent that they need to. Their roster has been so much better than what they've actually delivered on the field.
And I think football particularly is very cruel to rigid guys. Joy, we've watched the last 2 years. Rules change hourly in football. Football changes. A football game today doesn't look like a football game did 12 years ago on television. Football's the sport of change. Goodell will step in, rules committee, middle of a season, Super Bowl 2 years ago, they changed the catch rule. Baseball, you can be rigid. Baseball's kinder to rigid guy because baseball doesn't change much. Baseball, Little League Baseball, figured out the review system before Major League Baseball. Until a year ago, Major League Baseball didn't use computers to schedule their games. They were on cards. I'm not joking. And finally somebody said, you may want to computerize this thing. By the way, never have the Cubs Cardinals during the week. Never have the Giants Dodgers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Always have the Yankees Red Sox on the weekend, like the NFL's been doing forever. Scheduling matters. Baseball's fine for rigid guy because baseball is like glacial when it comes to change. Rigid football guy, I'm not going to change guy, it's a bad place for him. You got to adapt, baby. Belichick's 70 and still great because he adapts.
Well, the world changes. People's viewing habit changes. How people consume the game changes. Your audience gets younger.
Of course. So change.
Yes.
So when you're
It's an inevitable part of life.
And I've heard this for years on Big Ben. They use a simplistic audible system. It's my way or the highway. He's not willing to evolve. It's got a Favre-like quality, and they're both first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't think they're bad guys. But I see the divide in America not as Republican-Democrat, and that's certainly a divide. I see it between willing to grow or sticking your heels in the dirt and never moving. Big Ben here takes some blame for this. Evolve, Pittsburgh, analytically. Change some stuff up, both sides of the football. All right, let me shift gears to this. Jeff Schwartz in 10 minutes. He's great. There was a story a couple of days ago. I didn't really buy it. Not that I doubted the reporters, but I didn't think it would come to fruition. Doc Rivers, Clipper coach, going to the Lakers. Now, I'm not saying the reporters like Peter Vesey aren't great and didn't have legitimate sources. But what I said at the time was, it kind of feels like Doc's trying to get a raise or something, trying to get a contract extension. So I didn't buy the Doc Lakers story happening. I bought the story and the leak, but I didn't buy it was happening. The Clippers have a better owner. I think the Clippers have a better roster. I think right now they've got a better culture. I think with Jerry West, they have a better front office. I think Jerry's better than Magic and player personnel. Just my opinion. I got 40 years of Jerry to prove it. So I would not make the move if I'm Doc Rivers. I think the Lakers have a bigger brand. I don't think that's disputable. But the Giants have a bigger brand than the Jets, and for the next 10 years, because of Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell and the Jets, I think they're going to have more success than the New York Giants. But now this I'll say about Doc Rivers. I like Doc. I see Doc about 2-3 times a year. I like Doc a lot. Does Doc like money? Does Doc like leverage? Does Doc like power? Yeah, he does. When he came to the Clippers, he fleshed some stuff out. Doc's got a strong worldview, and I like Doc a lot. But he likes his money. He likes his power. He likes his control, and I'm okay with that. He's earned the right, and he's good. He's having, I'd argue, the best year he's ever coached. The fact they're going to make the playoffs in the West when they traded Tobias Harris in the last 3 years, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and they're going to make the playoffs. I felt my feeling on this, it was a little bit of a plant to get Doc an extension, which he wanted now. And by the way, in the last 48 hours, looks like they're going to take that option out of the contract and give Doc an extension, which is sort of what we predicted would happen on the story. I also don't think Doc and LeBron work. And I like both. But I like tuna fish and I like ice cream. I don't like them together. I like Doc and I like LeBron. But these are two strong-headed, smart, my way or highway guys. Doc's going to run a franchise the way he wants to run it. And he has a view of basketball, and and he's got titles, so he's earned that right. He's also a good player. And LeBron's earned the right to have a say in the room. Smart guy, bunch of titles, iconic brand, still great player, 28-8-8. But right now the Lakers have a lot of chefs in the kitchen. You got Kobe's got stuff he's doing, Pelinka and Magic and Genie and LeBron, and I don't think you could handle another chef. I don't think it would be a good fit for Doc. I think the Clippers is a perfect fit for Doc, where you have a great owner, a veteran eyes in West, a really nice roster who needs a star. They need a star. They've got space for two, and I think they're going to land one star. I don't think they're going to get Durant and Kawhi. I think they could get Kawhi or maybe a Jimmy Butler or somebody. But I never totally bought into this story. Former NFL offensive lineman Jeff Schwartz. You know what? Nothing wrong with having two in one day. I mean, they're not glamorous, maybe. I like offensive linemen. Those are beers and brats guys. Jeff Schwartz, around the corner, smart dude. Social Security numbers recently sold for $1 on the dark web. You could buy people's, that seems cheap to me. Full medical records command up to $1,000 on the dark web because you get the identity, date of birth, place of birth, credit card details, social security number, address, emails. Despite this, a 2017 survey of healthcare providers found just 16% reported having fully functional cybersecurity programs. So many ways that cyber criminals can try to take what's yours. Lifelock Identity Theft Protection adds the power of Norton Security to protect you against threats to your identity and devices you can't easily see or fix on your own. That's a problem. They got domestic agents that'll work on it. Nobody prevents all of it. Nobody can monitor all of it. LifeLock with Norton Security does see threats you'd miss in your own and fix them. LifeLock.com, code HERD, 10% off first year. LifeLock.com, code HERD, H-E-R-D, 10% off first year. Or just call 1-800-LifeLock, promo code HERD, save the same 10%. 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. They'll work to fix it. If there's a problem, they'll see it. You won't. They can fix it. You can't. LifeLock with Norton Security.